Hi, this is Maria. Welcome to my craft room. Today we're going to be making a stretch bracelet made out of natural stones. Let's get started. So we're going to actually make one of these that I wear all the time. Just natural stones in chips, mostly because I couldn't find all of the stones that I wanted in rounds. So the rounds are black tourmaline, hematite. This is fluorite, obsidian, amethyst, malachite, and quartz. And it's stretchy. So let's see what materials I'm using. I'm using a beadboard. There's many varieties. I just picked this one up because it was nice and gray and neutral. I like that it has a cheat sheet here, so I just lay out my stones, and I know that's going to be a 6.5 inch circle or a 6 or whatever size you choose to make. You could also just use the ruler and lay out your beads this way, whichever works for you. I'm going to be using a clip, a beading needle. This is actually a big eye that was closed, and I clipped the end because it's just easier to thread for me. Stretch Magic is a stretchy material that I like to use. I'm using 0.5 millimeter because when I'm beading, I'm going to double it over to make a 1 mil strand. I like the way it ties off that way. You could use a 1 millimeter and just do it single all the way through. Just make sure that the string you're using will go through your beads. So I know that 0.5 will go through here twice. I'm going to need a wire cutter and a chain nose plier and measuring tape. So first you want to measure what you want to be making. My wrist is pretty small. I'm a 6 inch, and I'm going to give myself an extra 1/2 inch, which gives me a 6.5 inch bracelet. Now that's just a little bit of room. If you want more, you could make a 7, and the tape measure gives you an indication of how loose it's going to be. 7.5 will be even bigger. So it's personal choice. I'm choosing a 6.5 inch, which would give me about 2 fingers more than what my actual measurement is. So it fits pretty snug. It's not tight, but it doesn't move a whole lot. These are all made the same way. I've got about a 2 finger give here. This one's older, so it's a little stretchier. But they don't move as I move my arm. They stay put. If you want more of a bangle where they slide, you would give yourself a little extra room. All right, so let's go ahead and get some string going. So I'm going to pull, I need 6.5, so I want to at least double that and then some, so that I have plenty of room. So I'm going to loop around. Let's see how much that is. I'm going to measure here. I'm going to give myself 22 inches. And I'm going to test it here. I've doubled it, and that will give me enough room to go around and enough room to tie off as well. So I ended up about 3 times what I needed. 6 times 3 is 18, and I went to 23 inches as I measured here against my mat. Now, first thing you want to do is stretch out your cording. Give it a good tug. I guess the first thing you want to do is pick your beads and lay them out in whichever configuration you want. If we were going straight across, you would just count out your 6.5 inches, and that's where you would stop. All right, so once I'm all stretched out, I'm going to put my needle on here And I'm going to put my stopper at the end, and we'll get started. You might hear Penny walking around in the background. All right, let's, you know what? We're gonna go a little tighter here. I'm gonna do one section and then I'll speed it through so you don't have to watch me beat all of this. And then we'll catch up at the end again. I like to put one section at a time onto my needle so that I can see how the stones lay before I string it all the way through the string. So I'm using the hematite first, and then black stone, and then I'll thread through the colored beads. Because they're natural stones, sometimes they don't sit well next to each other. So that's why I like to test them out right here on the needle before I string them all the way through. Let's turn that one the other way, and it lays better. All right, so let's take a look. If those lay nicely, then I go ahead and run them through. I'll just grab my chain nose pliers just to grab that needle, and we're going to go all the way to the end. Make sure we don't lose our end here. There we go. And I'm going to string the rest, and I'll speed this up. Alright, so I've got them threaded. I'm going to push them back closer to this loop, closer to this end loop, so that I can put the ends right through here. Take the clip off and take out that needle. And we're going to go right in here. These two loose ends are going to go into the loop, and then we'll slide everything down. I've got the loose ends in my hand. I'm going towards the doubled over loop, and we'll just work them all down, and that gets me really close to the edge here. And then we cinch this tight, and look at that. Beautiful. Now before you put any knots in here, go ahead and try it on if it's yours, so you see how it's going to fit. And if you're happy there, we'll begin tying. Alright, so I'm just going to give it a couple little tugs here, and we're going to do what's called a surgeon's knot. So I'm going to cross my thread, I'm going to go over for one knot, I'm going to go over again, so I have two. I have two on that, and that is my first knot. Give it a nice snug. Now I'm going to go on the inside of the bracelet, and I'm going to repeat that process. Cross my thread, go over and over again. So I've got a second knot like that on the inside, and we'll snug that one in right over that same location, but on the inside this time. Give it a tug, and one more time at the top. Cross, over, and over again, and we'll snug that. And that's not going anywhere. We're going to put a little glue to seal it in. I'm going to use E6000 because it is super, super strong. We don't need a whole lot. This is super sticky, so I always keep toothpicks on hand to make sure I can clear that, because it will clog up your little... I don't need that much, but that is how much came out. Alright, I'm going to grab this. Alright, so I'm going to grab that knot in my hand, expose the knot, and the knot's going to go inside this bead. We'll just take that toothpick, pick up a little glue, and go right on the knot. And while it's still wet, we're going to cut the ends. Nice and close. And put that knot in the bead. We're done. Isn't that pretty? Very easy. I hope you like this little project. This is one of my Christmas gifts this year. If you want more details, please remember to look at mariascraftroom.com. That's my blog, and you can find all kinds of information, details, and products that I'm using will be listed there. And also, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and click the notification bell so you'll be notified when I post a new video. Thanks for watching.